The S&P 500, the Nasdaq 100, we got to jump right into this. Now, going into this week, going into Monday, it will be a half day. Then Tuesday, 4th of July, you will be completely off. And 1, 2, 3 days left in the week. So a little bit of a shorter week. I do want to say this before we go any further. Understand, this week will probably be less volume. It'll be slower, I would anticipate. I do believe we'll see some buying kick in on Monday, but don't expect... I don't expect extreme volatility at the very minimum until Wednesday, maybe not even till the next week. I just want to say that right now. But let's look at price action here on the Nasdaq. As you can see, we came into those levels yesterday. So really quickly, we're going to go to the 15-minute, look exactly how we closed yesterday. So you can see we were pushing all up, and then obviously, overnight, really great push up into this morning, right? We break above, 15.25. We push up. Awesome. We talked about yesterday coming to that level, getting rejected, pushing down, and then today. Now, today, where did we go? If you go to the 2-hour, the 4-hour, you can really see this little bit of a supply level up here that was created at those highs. Really, 15.5 down to around 15.4-ish, right? Is that little bit of a range. We came right into that bottom area, got a little bit rejected, and we're kind of ending the week sideways. Now, the visual here, though, I want to express. We've seen very minimal volume. This was all that sell side right here, these 3 days, right? Minimal volume, nothing. Declining. First day of a bounce, even though we're going into a holiday weekend. Increased volume. Don't shoot the messenger. Okay, so when we look at where we're at specifically, now Nasdaq is actually the lagger here. So tech is lagging behind. You look at a little bit more of what's happening here. And again, ES is pushing up. You made new local highs, right? You go into Dow, new local highs here as well, right? Or, sorry, did not make new local highs. They go to RTY. So that's where you're pushing up. You're getting rejected so far right there. Now going into Russell, you look at where you're at and you're pushing up once again, right there as well. Getting right on the double tap, trying to push up. So ES is definitely getting the momentum. And this is all coming from what? This is coming from you're seeing these sectors that were weaker are now showing strength, right? Specifically bank names from that stress test we mentioned, okay? And this is what we've been talking about. You're going to start seeing that rotation play back in. Now, before we go into names I'm liking and the really big news coming out this week, I got to ask you to consider doing two things, liking and subscribing. It helps out tremendously. Also, too, if you're interested in Discord, the link is down below. This is not a signals Discord, but if you want to get surrounded by traders that are attacking the market, when we're sitting still, why we're not trading, why we're trading, why we're being aggressive, what we're looking at with 3-4 month out contracts, why we're scalping, right? This might be a place for you to get involved. But if you want to get free content, and again, I recommend doing this first, go to our website, go over and hover above the education. We have all this free education that we're making weekly in here, just so you know and you are prepared. Also, too, the newsletter. This will be dropping on Sunday. I recommend that if you're not in the newsletter, you're just wasting your own time. This is free information showing you every key level we're watching, what to expect throughout the week, and why. Again, priceless content, 100% free, paid for out of my pocket. If you do not open the newsletter, though, just understand after 2 weeks, you will be kicked off the newsletter, and you'll have to resubscribe. Again, this comes out of my pocket, so I just don't want to pay for people that aren't interested in receiving it. I have to pay per 100 people. I think we're almost at 4,000, almost. I think 4,200 right now, but we're working our way to 5,000 members. Awesome. This is absolutely free again, as you can see. So when we get back into the market, what are my visuals for the week? One, I want to see, I think the banking sector will continue, right? Specifically like JPM, you finally get the breakout. We've been talking about this, the ascending triangle here on the 4-hour time frame, clearly breaking above now, and you're getting into some illiquid areas and pushing up. I mean, this looks beautiful, like basically back into 150 minimum, right? You go over something like Goldman Sachs. We talked about this yesterday as well. Getting some love, has a lot of room to go. Easily back to maybe 350. So these banks, even though XLF is bouncing, I think banks have a lot of room to go. Going to tell you that right now. So I do like that. The narrative with banks is they're resilient. Strength has continued. You like what you see. Now we go over to tech and XLY. Now XLK, as this is the tech ETF, is going bananas today. We talked about this. You're seeing a little bit of a rotation into Russell, into Dow. We explained what has happened previously when that's happened. You've seen money flow back into tech. Now, this is primarily because of Apple. Apple pushed into 52-week highs. Once again, you are in price discovery. First close ever at $3 trillion for a stock ever on the market cap. And this thing looks like it wants to continue going, maybe even pushing towards $200 a share, right? Beautiful. You know, you go into Microsoft, another big name we've been talking about. Pushing, I mean, again, I said this, very similar to Apple. You push into 52-week or all-time highs, you get rejected, and now you're pushing back up. I like what I'm seeing here as well. So there's no reason for me to believe the train's going to slow down anytime soon right now. Now we go over to XLY, consumer discretionary. Big names here, Amazon, Tesla, those names, and Home Depot. Those are the top three. So those names have all been really pushing, primarily Amazon and Tesla, right? Now look at what's happened over the past few days. While everyone was saying we're bearish, look at the action. Clear bull flag. Clear. This is the daily time frame. Breaking up and pushing up with violence. Okay. This is what you want to see. Pushing back into this range. Probably get room to 174, almost $5 more here. Would be really watching out for this. But again, and if you want to be a little bit more conservative, about right there, 173.7, 174, give or take. Conservative target XOY. So Tesla, Amazon, Home Depot, a lot of room. We can go in and look at those charts as well. Obviously, Tesla monster, you know, had this kind of a terrible candle forming out in the week, but look at how it finished the week, right? You know, Home Depot, all fantastic week as well. We had those targets filled out perfectly. This is another big trade we were mentioning in Discord as well. And then Amazon, of course, coming into the 200-day, weekly, not daily, weekly moving average. Look at this right here. Pull that up real quick. Right there. About 132, 133, give or take. That's our target. It's been there for a while, and you look like you want to continue. So again, Amazon, if it gets over that, we have some big moves probably coming there. So going into this week, just go into it with a mentality of, let me be, you know, a little bit patient, but we're looking to see us get above these levels, right? We're already at 4,500 here on the ES, right? The next level is around I have around 445.50. That was your big level there. If you get above 45.50, I believe there's reason to start looking forward to new all-time highs on ES, new all-time highs on Nasdaq as well. Okay, because we're getting very close to those levels. Okay, now a few other things I do want to discuss. A lot of people have been asking about Bitcoin and what's happening here. Bitcoin had a pretty nasty drop on the day. If you don't know, this was primarily because of the SEC like leak or rumor going out there that the ETF has been declining because it has inadequate information on it, so they need more. I assume they're going to keep trying to push for this ETF. Bitcoin started bouncing right back. One thing I'll say about Bitcoin though, guys, understand it's always going to track primarily with the indexes. When you have a risk-on mentality, I think Bitcoin performs the best. So just go into it with that mentality. Be careful. I love Bitcoin. Love what it's doing. Big fan. Think you have potential. Think you have room here. So again, really big fan of what's happening and how we're moving going forward. A little bit of good news takes you over 31K. And if you look at Bitcoin, I want to be really clear here, guys. I mean, you break over 31K as you zoom out. You know, this is that line in the sand here. 100%, this is the line. You get above this range and you are moving back up with vengeance, with some violence once again. Now, the big indicators, big fundamental viewpoints, you have the DXY. We had a bounce yesterday we talked about. You're pushing back down a little bit here. Again, descending triangle here on the daily and weekly timeframes. I'm looking for downside on the dollar, which again solidifies the idea of risk on. Now, if you go a little bit more into commodities, oil, weak, trying to hold the 200 weekly moving average. If this thing breaks, you're going to see pain. It's worth mentioning you're just tracking on oil, the Nasdaq and the SPY, but you're not even getting the same measured move. So you're like bouncing with the Nasdaq with oil, but it's so weak in comparison. And when the Nasdaq dips, oil gets slammed. So again, oil commodities look very weak. You even go down to something like gold. You got a little bit of a bounce today, but all in all, still clearly in a downtrend. Doesn't look good. Also, that monthly triple top, 1, 2, 3, going all the way back to 2020, 2022, and then, of course, 2023. Not the best looking thing there. The only red flag I'll continue to say is what's happening with yields, short-term yields in particular, 2, 5, and 10, continue to track up. Your inversion, the 10 versus 30, is also very close to being inverted. Right, you're at 99.4%, dangerously close. This is the only red flag that is out there. PCE inflation did come out pretty beneficial today. They did slightly drop. I think we wanted to see a bigger drop in order to solidify the thesis of a pause once again from the Fed. I'm a little bit up in the air. I need to see how the Fed handles this going forward. But I still like the market. Like I said, as long as we came out underneath expectations on core PCE, we would shoot up, and we did. So right now, the story still is in the same narration for myself. Upside until proven differently, primarily based on data. That's what we want to see. Okay, that's my opinion. That's my trading thesis as we're moving forward here. I don't want to go too crazy. Now, before I let you out of here as well, book map. I'm going to give you a visual of volume and what was happening here. So all day long, if you look in here, we were getting icebergs around 500 lots to the buy side. So big buyers were stepping in all day. Like, not necessarily at 1,000 lots. You had a few thousand lot orders, right? But they were still stepping in. And then here near the end of the day, you have a 2,500 lot order, massive order. I think it's like over 400 billion, I believe. I don't want to be quoting wrong there. That's a massive order though. And then at the end of the day, right at the end, you have another one around 3,200 lots being bought as well. So big orders, big buyers stepping into the market. So we want to see. This is what you need to see in the market. And that's what we love to see, especially on the dip happening there into the end of the week. So again, you're coming into resistance on ES. 4,500, this is going to be a clear level, but you're ending the week strong. Again, you look at the daily candles, you love to see them. You look at the weekly candles, I think you even love them more. Clear engulfing, clear. Nasdaq, right? We come back in this one, clear, engulfing right back over it. Again, this is a sign of strength. Favorite charts, still AMD, absolutely love it. On the weekly, clear bull flag. Okay, I want to say that right now. Clear bull flag on the weekly. You go to the daily chart here. You're also mounting over that level, once again, the 109 region. If you go back to the weekly, you can also see how you're holding up. Look at this buy candle. You dip down and buyers are holding up 1, 2. This is exactly what we need to see. If you zoom out here on AMD as well, you can see the inverted head and shoulders on the higher time frame playing out, pushing up. The last thing that did this was NVIDIA, and I think NVIDIA was picture perfect, as you can see here. You can go all the way back and really see head, shoulder, went to the moon, right? I believe AMD a little bit of a slower mover, but it still looks very good. Also in these channels, how it moves. I'll probably do a write-up this weekend on AMD. Absolutely love it. Big time player here also. Next up, Google. Still love them. Clear flag. Once again, continuation, big buyers showing up as well. The story just continues here. These are names I'm loving, names I have to keep grabbing. I have to. Now, with a riskier name, it is Meta. Meta on the weekly. I love it here also. You can go into something like the 4-hour. I posted this on Twitter as well, clear ascending triangle. I posted this 2 days ago. You had an opportunity to buy around 280, as you can see right here, and you bounced right back up. So beautiful. Took a little bit of profits, but again, I'm trying to see the breakout. I think you can easily push towards 300. A lot of momentum here. I love the name, and I definitely believe there's a lot of upside potential over the next few days and weeks, specifically with tech. If we can continue this train here, we just don't want the Fed to say anything crazy. We look good. I like what's happening. The stress test, everything in between is absolutely greased. It's cooking. We're sliding. We're going to victory. No complaints so far. Have a good weekend. Enjoy your family. 4th of July. Hey, we salute the veterans, boys.